Good morning, preppers. Welcome back to Prepper Boss. There's been a tremendous amount of push to get everybody to drive electric vehicles. Stats I read, electric vehicles average cost is $67,000. We need fossil fuels. The world is powered by fossil fuels. My very own congressman is an MIT graduate in engineering. He sums it up simply, way better than I could or anybody else that I've come in contact with, on why this administration cannot ram electric vehicles down our throat. Stay tuned for this video. Watch it all the way to the end because he makes perfect sense. In the words of Albert Einstein, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough yourself. Congressman Massey understands it. Stay tuned.
Pete has a solution. Just buy a $60,000 electric car that doesn't work and then we can turn off if we don't like you. Here's how Thomas Massey of Kentucky responded to that idea at a recent hearing.
If that average household plugged in electric cars, do you know how much more electricity they would use in comparison to the air conditioning that air conditions their whole house?
No, but again, I would emphasize it will
Let me help you with
overall.
that first before we go on, because the numbers are important. It would take 4 times as much electricity to charge the average household's cars as the average household uses on air conditioning. Do you think that could be, so if we reach the goal by 2030 that Biden has of 50% adoption instead of 100% adoption, that means the average household would use twice as much electricity charging one of their cars as they would use for all of the air conditioning that they use for the entire year.
It's so good. You can't really overstate the contempt we feel for almost all members of Congress. There are a few good ones, and there are a couple great ones. Thomas Massey is a great one. He represents Kentucky in the House of Representatives. He joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. Were you surprised that the transportation secretary who's lecturing you about renewables and energy had no idea what the numbers were?
I wasn't surprised. Look, their plans are based on political science, not physics and engineering. And by the way, one of those people you showed in your monologue, those highly credentialed economists, was my intro to macroeconomics professor at MIT, Paul Krugman, 30 years ago. I knew for 30 years he was full of it. And so that's why I knew the plans this year wouldn't work. But on to Buttigieg. Look, the reality is if they do know, they have a different plan. They know that you can't run the air conditioning for Americans in this country and have the electric car adoption rates they want with the existing grid we have in any time frame in the near future. But what they expect you to do is turn off your air conditioning. There were 3 days after I had that interview with Buttigieg, CNN runs an article that says, oh, Americans are spoiled. They need to live without air conditioning. They need to live like Europe. How do you do that in Arizona?
It seems like an intentional effort to dramatically drive down the standard of living for average people. Why would they want to do that, do you think?
They want a lower quality of life and a lower standard of living. And that's the only way you can accomplish their goals. Otherwise, you're going to crash the grid. We've already seen blackouts when they're lower standard of living. And that's the only way you can accomplish their goals. Otherwise, you're going to crash the grid. We've already seen blackouts when they're rolling blackouts and they tell you that they're going to turn off your electricity. But sometimes you have brownouts. You know, you're going to have nothing and you're going to be happy about it. That's their motto. They're also, Tucker, trying to force people onto public transportation, which mass public transportation has always been a losing proposition in terms of efficiency. And one more thing, Tucker, since I did that exchange with Buttigieg, somebody said, well, Congressman, you could charge your electric car at night, not while the air conditioning load is high. Well, what the hell powers the grid at night? It's coal and natural gas. The solar panels aren't working at night.
Did the person have any idea that that was true? Do they even know that?
No, it's all based on political science. This is why I'm a political science denier. You know,
So good. You are welcome on the show anytime. Thomas Massey of Kentucky. I hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.
Well, there you have it. The perfect explanation on why we need to be able to drill for and transport fossil fuels for many more decades to come so that our economy stays strong. I'm not sure if that's what this particular administration is interested in. It looks to me like they are interested in total control. Like I mentioned in a previous video, they could flip a switch and turn off charging stations in a certain region and prevent everybody from traveling somewhere if maybe the traffic was too heavy, if maybe they wanted to exert their control. When you think about it, there's a Secretary of Transportation who's very articulate, but he knows nothing about science. He has a history degree, very bright guy, but you don't take a third baseman from the Angels and have him perform heart surgery on you unless he's a cardiovascular surgeon. We've got a transportation secretary with no clue. He was evidently hired for other reasons. Make sure you get out and vote this year for people that are going to strengthen our economy and allow fossil fuels to continue. Our lives literally depend on it. Please hit that subscribe button, like and comment, and we'll see you next time.